We are going to be starting tonight off on Monday, June 1st, 2026 at 6:40 with Water Pollution Control Authority meeting. We will call it to order with roll call, please.
Commissioner Allegro.
Here.
Chair Sakala.
Here.
Commissioner Crissati.
Here.
Commissioner Hall.
Here.
Commissioner Mangini. Here. Commissioner Matthews.
Here.
Commissioner Pisner.
Here.
Vice Chair Santinella.
Here.
Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
Commissioner Ungary.
Here.
And Commissioner Zanoni.
Here.
11 members are present, none are absent.
Thank you. Item 2 on the agenda, discussion resolution. Resolution setting a public hearing for the 26-27 sewer service fees and rates. Whereas the Enfield Water Pollution Control Authority values the opinions and comments, we're setting a public hearing, I'm sorry. Whereas the Enfield Water Pollution Control Authority values the opinions and comments of its constituents, and whereas in accordance with Section 86-52F, the Enfield Water Pollution Control Authority must hold a public hearing on the proposed water sewer service fees and rates for the upcoming fiscal year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Enfield Water Pollution Control Authority shall conduct a public hearing in the Town Council Chambers at Town Hall, 820 Enfield Street on June 15th, 2025 at 6:45 on the proposed sewer service fees and rates for fiscal year 26-27, date prepared June 1, 2026 by the Enfield Town Manager's Office.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any discussion?
Annually, the WPCA sets the public hearing to go over the rates. This year, we're not recommending any changes to the rates. So,
All right. All right, so no recommended changes on the rates. We're going to set that public hearing, so it'll be our next meeting at 6:45 here. Any comments, questions? All right, roll call, please.
Commissioner Allegro.
Here.
Chair Sakala. No.
4.
Chair Sakala.
4.
Commissioner Crissati.
4.
Commissioner Hall.
4.
Commissioner Mangini.
Oh, 4.
Commissioner Matthews.
4.
Commissioner Pisner.
4.
Vice Chair Santinella.
4.
Commissioner Thomas.
Here and 4.
Commissioner Ungary.
4.
And Commissioner Zanoni.
4.
11 in favor, none against.
All right, thank you very much. Can I get a motion to adjourn the WPCA?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor? 11 in favor, none against. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It is 6:50. We are going to start with the public hearing on the Neighborhood Assistance Act. And can we start with roll call, please?
Counselor Legro.
Here.
Mayor Sakala.
Here.
Counselor Crissati.
Here.
Counselor Hall.
Here.
Counselor Mangini.
Here.
Counselor Matthews.
Here.
Counselor Pisner.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
Here.
Counselor Thomas.
Here.
Counselor Ungary.
Here.
And Counselor Zanoni.
Here.
11 members are present, none are absent.
Thank you. The following notice of public hearing was published in the Journal-Inquirer on Thursday, May 21st, 2026. Town of Enfield legal notice. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Enfield shall hold a public hearing in the Enfield Town Hall Council Chambers, 820 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut, Monday, June 1st, 2026 at 6:50 to allow interested citizens an opportunity to express their opinion regarding the 2026 Neighborhood Assistance Act proposals. Dated the 19th of May, 2026 by Sheila Bailey. Announcement of the ground rules for the public hearing. There is no time limit, but I ask that each person not to take up too much time so that everyone has an opportunity to speak. After each person who desires has one chance to speak, I shall permit those individuals who desire a second chance. After those who desire a second chance to speak, I will permit those who would like a third, fourth, etc. And please refrain from personalities. I do have a sign-up list for the public hearing, so Karen LaPlante, come on up.
Looks like the light is on. Is it working? Okay. Karen LaPlante, 166 North Maple Street, and I'm also a member of the Board of Directors of the Hazel Institute Conservancy Society, who has applied for approval tonight to apply for this tax credit program. The Connecticut Neighborhood Assistance Act is a tax credit program designed to provide funding for municipal and tax-exempt organizations by providing a corporate business tax credit for businesses who make cash contributions to these entities that apply for the tax credit for the program, and the credit may be applied to a various group of corporate taxes. The most common one is the Connecticut Corporation Tax, which is Chapter 208 businesses. There's also utility ones, satellite companies, community antenna systems, certified competitive video service companies, railroad companies, air carriers, and insurance companies and healthcare centers. So all those pay corporate income tax, and this money can come directly to a specific program. Now, there are some, shall I say, criteria that has to be met. Our program that we apply for, and we've been applying for the Institute, are for energy conservation programs. And you get 100% of the tax credit. So if we say we need $15,000 for our energy efficient air handler, which isn't the right number, but a business, if he has to pay $15,000 in taxes to the state of Connecticut under one of those type of codes, then they could send the money directly to us once they're approved and our program is approved, and they can take that full dollar credit off their taxes that they owe the state. So this is a way for local nonprofits or municipalities to get money from state taxes that wouldn't necessarily come back to us in any other way. The energy conservation is 100% credit. There's other programs that you can apply, but it's only a 60% credit. So we take advantage of the energy efficiency because we're still doing renovations on the building. There are some limits as to the amount of the contribution that can be made and the amount of tax credit that's available. The total tax credits under the NAA tax credit program are limited to $150,000 annually for each business. The tax credit for investments in child care centers may not exceed $50,000 per income year for each business firm. So there's different criteria for that. A minimum contribution for a corporation is $250. And any organization conducting a program or programs eligible to receive contributions under the NAA tax credit program is limited to receiving an aggregate of $150,000 in funding for any program or programs for any fiscal year. So we couldn't get really more than $150,000. The cap on the amount of the credits that may be granted annually is $5 million. So the state says we're not going to give more than $5 million in tax credits. But if the proposals that are submitted and approved by all the municipalities exceeds that number, then the credits will be prorated for all the programs that have been approved. But they still wouldn't give out more than $5 million. So the businesses that wish to participate, it's a process. They have to fill out a form, and it has to be electronically submitted to the state, and it's not available till September 15th, and it has to be submitted before October 1st. So there's a 15-day window that if you're talking to nonprofits or to businesses, you have to remind them if they promise to do it, they have to do it in those 15 days. And then what happens once they apply, the State Revenue Department looks at it, and they give them approval, and they send them something, verification, that then they are then allowed to give that money to the organization, and then we would get the check directly from them, and they would take the tax credit on their tax year filings whenever they do their annual filings. Some still have year ends that in June. Others, it's December 31st, so certain companies would have to give you that money before that deadline, whatever their calendar year is. So there's no carry forward for this tax credit allowed, and any tax credit that is not taken in that income year that it's approved can go back up to 2 years. So if they had paid taxes the previous year and they didn't owe any taxes this year, then they could go back the previous year, and they can go back up to 2 years. And that's kind of it. And it's been a way for us to get some money for our building, and hopefully we'll get some interest again this year. And I urge anybody that's a Connecticut corporation out there to consider it, because why give it somewhere down the road when it could stay right here in Enfield? Thank you.
Thank you. Gretchen Pfeiffer Hall.
Good evening. Good evening, Gretchen Pfeiffer Hall, 4 Summers Road, Enfield. Also on the Board of Directors of the Hazardville Institute Conservancy Society, President, and speaking in favor of our application. Appreciate you putting us on the agenda. Once again, as Karen LaPlante just stated, this has been a successful fundraising opportunity for us, and we're grateful that you've done that. And we have a team that's worked hard, because the money doesn't just flow to you. You have to go out and ask for it. And so our team's done a good job of making connections and getting some donations. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience here and wish to speak on the public hearing for the Neighborhood Assistance Act? All right, anyone for the second time? All right, then I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you. We have about 1 minute to wait until we will roll right into the regular meeting. Going to call to order the regular meeting of the Town Council, June 1, 2026, at 7 p.m. in the council chambers. We will start off with a prayer by Councilor Crissati, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, everyone. Today is June 1st. We recognize both Pride Month and Juneteenth. Pride Month celebrates the contributions, resilience, and diversity of the LGBTQ plus individuals in our community and across the nation. Juneteenth commemorates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans, and it reminds us of the ongoing pursuit of freedom, equality, and justice for all. These observations invite us to reflect on our shared values of inclusion, respect, and opportunity. We honor the many individuals whose efforts have helped build stronger, more welcoming communities, and we remain committed to serving all residents with dignity and fairness. And please watch over our Special Olympic athletes, our Enfield Stars, as they compete this weekend in the Summer State Games, and we wish them all the best. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilor Crissati. Roll call, please.
Counselor Crissati.
Here.
Counselor Hall.
Here.
Counselor Mangini.
Here.
Counselor Matthews.
Here.
Counselor Pisner.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
Here.
Counselor Thomas.
Here.
Counselor Ungary.
Here.
Counselor Zanoni.
Here.
Counselor Allegro.
Here.
And Mayor Sakala.
Here.
11 members are present, none are absent.
Thank you. Item 5, the fire evacuation announcement. In the event of a fire and emergency, there are 2 means of exits in the council chambers. Exit out the rear door and walk a safe distance from the building, or the side doors, which is my left, the audience right. Walk down 1 flight of stairs and a safe distance from the building. The minutes of the preceding meetings, special meeting, May 11th, 2026. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
And a second.
Motion made and seconded. Any comments, questions? All right, all in favor? 11 in favor, any against? Any abstentions? 11 in favor, none against. Special meeting of May 18th, 2026.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions, comments? All right, all in favor? That is 9 in favor, any against? Any abstentions? All right, 8 in favor, 3 abstentions, none against. All right, and a regular meeting, May 18th, 2026.
So moved.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded. Any comments, questions? All right, all in favor? All right, there is 9 in favor. Any against? Any abstentions? 2 abstentions. Thank you. Special guests. All right, we have the America 250 essay contest winners. Feel free to come on up, whoever's coming up. There's not enough seats for everybody, but whoever's.
And then I'll call you guys the winners up.
On behalf of the Enfield America 250 Coordinating Committee, I'd like to congratulate you all on placing in the top 3 of the submissions we received.
Hold on, one second. We're gonna be microphone. I'm not gonna test it, I'll leave that to you.
Where am I starting? What? So I'm Cindy Kinney. I'm the chair of the Enfield 250 Committee.
Emily Clifford, Vice Chair.
Shannon Esslinger, committee member.
So on behalf of the Enfield America 250 Coordinating Committee, I would like to congratulate you on placing in the top 3 of all of the submissions we received for the micro essay contest. We appreciate the time and effort you all put into your writing. We enjoyed reading your submissions. It is an honor to present these awards to you. In 3rd place, we have Samantha Glenn. Come on up. Second place, Hannah Witowski. And first place, McKenna Salvador.
Beautiful. Thank you. If any parents want to pop up and take a picture as well.
Girl power.
Thank you, and congratulations to the top three.
We have a couple.
Sure, go ahead. Counselor Ungary?
Okay, I'd like to congratulate all the winners. You did a wonderful job. I serve on that 250 committee, and so I was privileged to read all the essays, and I just want to compliment the three winners. You did a great job. It was so informative, thoughtful, and just well done. So thank you.
Thank you. Wait, one more. Counselor Matthews.
One more, guys.
One more.
Hi. I also would like to congratulate you all on behalf of the America 250 Committee. And as a member of the Enfield 4th of July Celebration Committee, I would like to invite all of you to read your essays over the 4th of July celebration, which takes place the 10th, 11th, and 12th. We will be in touch with further details on that for you. And we will also have America 250 themed gift bags for all of you at that celebration. So we will be in touch again, and congratulations.
Counselor Mangini?
Thank you. And thank you all for all your hard work, and especially to the America 250 committee. I'm also liaison with Lori on the committee, and tremendous work on the young people. Keep it up, and we're so proud of you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You are welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting, but I don't know that it's really entertaining or interesting for you guys. All right, next is public communications, and before I go read this long spiel, is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak? Because I know there's nobody signed up. All right, George, hang on then. Come on up, but you know the drill, just come on up. You get 5 minutes. State your name and address, and then you can get 3 minutes after that.
George Young, 8 Holly Lane. You're not imposing the new suggested changes?
We haven't passed them yet.
I hope so. First, I'd like to start with, I don't have any prepared things, but I'm going to do a few other things. The 2025 year-end audited financial statement, it's now May past, so it's June 1st already, and we still don't have year-end financial statements for last year, for the year ended June 30th, 2025. It used to be there was an excuse. Oh, the treasurer left, so we are not prepared to finish the report. That took us about almost 2 years to get that done. The treasurer's been there now for a couple of years. What's the latest reason that it isn't being pursued, that we can see a financial statement? How do you make budgets, et cetera, if you don't know where you're going? Unless you people are getting a special report that none of us in the public can see. And how do we look at the budget without knowing what happened in the past? The past is a history of what we need to see to know where you're going. So that's my comment on the financial report. We need that, and tonight I hope there's a comment as to when it's going to be really coming out. I heard the end of May, but obviously that didn't happen. It looks to me like we're going to do some changes to the proposed meetings when we get up here to speak. If I read it correctly, which I had very little time, but if I read it correctly, it sounds like the first time we speak, it's going to be for only the agenda for the evening. And the second time, it's open to what we can speak. I'm not sure, but I think the red line indicated that there's now going to be 10 total minutes, but I'm not positive of that. It was hard to read when I read it. And the other thing, it was very difficult to print today. I don't know whether the agenda came out very late or I couldn't find it. But as a result, I really didn't dig into too much. The next thing I'd like to talk about is, I'm presuming, even though I wasn't here, you passed a resolution to have a June 25th meeting for the Water Pollution Control Authority. I've asked this in the past, and I have never gotten any responses, but I think before the next public comments, you always say, boy, we're really interested in what the public has to say. I'm not really sure you are interested in what you say that you are interested in, because I'd like to see a comparison of when you first started charging the Water Pollution Control a figure, and I believe it's $390,517 for the services of the town manager, the town attorney, and a few other people to the Water Pollution Control. And also then you charged another probably $37,000 IT services, and this is what's being paid for by the Water Pollution Control. I have a problem with that. You haven't changed it since we started. I got to believe this figure's got to be $750,000. So before we get to the June 25th meeting, through the mayor to the town manager, I'd like to see a report that would tell us, how did you arrive at the original 390 or the original 37,000? I'm just going from memory what those amounts are. And what would those numbers be today? Because we certainly are paying the town manager a lot more money than we paid 10 years ago, and I'm sure everyone else along the way has gotten increases. So there's more expenses that should be passed on to the Water Pollution Control Authority. A year ago, I didn't think 50 cents was enough. And the reason I say this is because when you put the money and it has to be paid by the Water Pollution Control, that's going to the people that are utilizing the water. However, when you don't charge enough, that means that's money that the taxes are going on the back of the real estate people that own property in this town, because you aren't giving the town enough money. I don't know if it's worth $0.25 mil or $0.5 but I'm certainly sure it's worth something. And we're always complaining about, oh, it went up another $0.25 mil or $0.5 This would probably reduce it if we build what is supposed to be built. So I think I'd like to see a comparison made and the council get on this thing and be sure that it's done, because the problem we have is the WPCA is the town council, who is also the person or persons that decide whether or not someone has a fair complaint to them. So they're judge, jury, and they decide everything. I would like the WPCA to be split up and not be the council. I think that's probably it, is all I can think of for now. So thank you.
Thank you, George. Anyone else? All right, public communications is closed. Item 9 on our agenda this evening is councilor communications and petitions. I'll go first. I just have a couple of things. Number 1, happy June 1st, happy Pride Month. And for those of you who attended, we just had a very beautiful and well-attended ceremony out in the front, and you can see that we now have the pride flag hanging from the town hall again. Number 2, even though the Memorial Day parade was canceled, last Sunday there was still the Memorial Day ceremony. I know many of us here did attend. It was a very beautiful ceremony, and thank you to those organizations who put that on. It happened at Enfield High School, even though the weather didn't cooperate. 3, graduation is coming up, so congratulations to the Enfield High School graduates, and happy summer to those people who are not graduating but get to have the summer off, because that all happens before our next meeting. And for the public's information, I do believe that the town manager is going to talk a little bit about some of the mowing stuff that has been going on. I know there's a lot of chatter about that. So he will have that report in his town manager report section. So, Councilor Mangini.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Sakala, for covering all those points. That's really important. The Warming Center is celebrating 10 years and would like their supporters to celebrate. It's June 11th, the same night as graduation. So they've extended an invitation to council. It's 6:30, same time as graduation. But I did tell Monica I would bring forward the information. If anyone is or can attend or even send well wishes to the group, that would be great. Also, the Friends of the Library is having their book sale June 5th, 6th, and 7th at the Annex. Friday, 5 to 8. Saturday, 9 to 3. Sunday, 10 to 2. And they're looking forward to people coming out and supporting them. And they have a lot of really good books that you can get really for a steal. I do want to congratulate St. Bernard Lawn Party this weekend. They had good weather for a change and lots of people, and I know everyone enjoyed themselves. Mount Carmel, I think Bob's going to talk a little bit about that too. We had our 100-year celebration kickoff where we had the Italian dancers from Springfield come up, and we also had the flag carriers from Firenze, Florence, Italy. The men come here to America. They're doing a tour, and they gave us a beautiful demonstration of how they show culture back home in Italy. So that was fun. That was Saturday. And I do have a couple of concerns through our mayor to town manager. Summer Street construction. Excuse me, I know it's in process, and I know that we're working hard to correct that street. We do have the Mount Carmel feast coming up beginning of August, the end of July. So if we could get an update on if in fact that's going to be addressed prior to our procession. Then also, Hazard Avenue is a nightmare with the manholes. They're popped up all over the place. I would ask that through our town, we could maybe get the state to do something because it's almost like every foot you're going to hit another manhole pop-up. And it's very dangerous because you've got cars weaving in and out to avoid, and I'm one of those cars. I don't lose my tires or undercarriage. So I'm wondering if we could maybe address that issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Crissati, anything?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I just have a couple of things to mention. First of all, I just want to give a shout out. Finally, over at the Potter Hollow Fields, the sponsorship banners are up, and it looks great on the outfield fences. It covers the whole area. So once again, thank you to all the donors that donated to help defray the cost of the dugouts. Second of all, and I know that we all got invitations, June 3rd coming up is the groundbreaking ceremony for Angela Gardens over at 1297 Enfield Street with community builders and the Felician Sisters. Also had the pleasure to attend the social service sponsored walk for the Youth for Mental Health. There's a few of us that were there. Maya, I know Maya took the trek, and it was a nice hot day and got a good workout. So, but that was a nice event. I know Cindy had mentioned the Italian festival. Our Lady of Mount Carmel is celebrating 100 years, 100-year anniversary, and they have a series of events that are going on. But the Italian flag bearers from Florence were excellent. The Italian dancers, the La Sorella group from Springfield, and this Italian singer, Vittoria De Carlo, really brought you back to your childhood. You know, back when we were younger, all the families would get together, and that's all they would do is they would sing and dance and all these Italian songs. And it really, it brought back. We had a heck of a good time. It was very fun. I know there's a big event, a black tie event coming up in October. So for anybody that's interested in doing it, contact Mount Carmel Society and get your tickets early. Also, June 4th coming up, and I did, wish everybody well with the Enfield Stars and their Special Olympics event that's coming up this weekend at Southern Connecticut State University. Just remember that the torch run comes through town, and this year the torch run starts approximately at 9:45. That's with the Enfield Police Department, State Police. The fire departments are involved, along with Special Olympian athletes who are going to be running the legs. It starts here in Enfield, and it will end up in New Haven for opening night on Friday night. So looking forward to that coming up. The last thing that I am just going to mention, once again, very proud to be part of the festivities today with the Pride flag coming to Enfield again and to the Town Hall and recognizing June as Pride Month. I have 5 words: Enfield supporting an inclusive community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Ungary, anything?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a few announcements I'd like to make. People have been asking me dates and times, and so I'm just going to rattle off my list. The adult education graduation is June 4th at 6 p.m. Our concert series starts next Tuesday, June 9th. What time does that start? Is that 7? 7 o'clock? Thank you. And Enfield High's graduation starts at 7 p.m. And the Senior Center is naming their great room, and they're going to dedicate it to Kate Talarita. And I think she was the first chairman of the Commission on Aging. And that's going to be at the Senior Center on the 12th at 3 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Zanoni, anything?
I do, thank you. Through the mayor to the town manager, if it's possible during your update, if you can give just a brief synopsis of what's transpiring with the Parkman roof. I know that we had to cancel our last joint facilities meeting due to a scheduling issue, but if people can just get an idea, because I believe that there was consensus to move forward with a study of the water on that roof and kind of go forward with a kind of intermediary solution there, so that would be appreciative. Just one thing to respond to Mr. Young. I would be happy to have a conversation with you more about water pollution control. It's not my area of expertise, so it's something that, when you brought it up, it's not necessarily my wheelhouse. I think to that point, talking about, bifurcating the council to the WPCA is a conversation worth having. I'm not willing to relieve our taxing authority to that, so I think they would still need to send those recommendations to the council. But I think the more nuanced responsibilities of that commission is something worth having a discussion about. And regarding the changes to policies and procedures, I'll discuss my opinions on that when that comes on an agenda. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Hall, anything?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a few things. First, congratulations to Enfield High Boys Lacrosse. They won their championship game the other day, and it was a great celebration, so congratulations to the team. Also, congratulations to the graduates. We don't have a meeting before the next graduation, and congratulations to everybody coming up on June 11th. Through the mayor to the town manager, if you wouldn't mind, under your manager's report, just giving us an update on the playground equipment at the library, the swings and the slide. I know Matt has looked into those issues and probably has some answers for people that have been inquiring on the missing swings, and the slide is also closed off for repairs over there. So that would be great. And thank you to the Veterans Council for the Memorial Day remembrance. It was a great event, beautiful performance put on by the Enfield High Band and the choir as well. They did a wonderful job. And thank you to Lucian and Pam, who always worked so hard to pull these beautiful events together. The other item I think through the request of leadership, Matt's going to give us an update on the roads that are going to be addressed this year. So I have that on the list. And speaking of roads, through the mayor to the town manager, Powder Hollow is a mess. Big, huge potholes. And I know we did the gravel fill on that road before the facilities were open for the hot pavement. So if somebody could go through there, and I don't know how they're going to fill all the potholes, quite honestly. That road really needs to be redone totally. But it's bad right now. And let me just make sure. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas, anything? All right. Councillor Pisner.
Just quickly, again, another shout out to the Veterans Council for a wonderful ceremony at Enfield High. They had a lot of special things planned for the parade, but the weather didn't work out for us. But again, wonderful celebration there. Another shout out to Mike Cartner and the Rotary for all the beautiful banners. I keep driving around. I just got into Hazardville to see them. I really think it's transforming our town. And I just love seeing them. So congratulations, a big shout out to what they did for that. It was a lot of hard work, but it looks great. Congratulations to both the Enfield High School graduates and also our adult ed graduates that's happening this week. I know that takes a lot to go through the Enfield adult program, so a big shout out to them, and best of luck to all our graduates. And George, I agree too. Policy and procedures, I'll say what I want about communications. And finally, I believe our Enfield girls softball team is playing this Wednesday. So a big shout out for them to win. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Matthews, anything?
Thank you. I would like to thank Joanna Fornwalt and Tess Quiros and the entire Enfield Social Services team for organizing last month's mental health walk. It was a great time. It was also really nice to see all of our community police officers walking with all the kids. So I just want to thank them for all of their hard work throughout the year. Also, Enfield Social Services is holding their next Financial Foundations workshop in their series. That will be tomorrow, Tuesday, June 3rd. This week's session focuses on financial resiliency, preparing for unexpected expenses, and managing financial challenges. It's a great program. Also, there is a very popular family build night that is going on Thursday, June 4th at 5:30. This is for youth in grades 3 to 12 who are invited to build with their families using Legos, and pizza is also provided. This is a free event. And we are coming up onto Juneteenth. We are going to be having a townwide event on Saturday, June 20th at 2 p.m. This will be a free community fun day for families at Thompson Hall, 4 Alden Avenue. There will be live music, dance, drumming, spoken word, scholarship awards, face painting, balloon animals, games, raffles, and I will also be speaking at the event. The theme is honoring our roots and strengthening our community, building our future. Everyone is welcome. I, again, would like to mention my congratulations for next week's graduates. I want to give a special shout out to my heart and soul, my son Caleb, who will be graduating, along with his 2 best friends since preschool. That's Carter and Brendan. Your parents and I are so incredibly proud of you and everything you've overcome to get here. Congratulations to you and the entire class of 2026. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Lego, anything?
Yes, thank you. As we've heard, there's a lot of events coming up in this month of June, and I just thought about some of the events, and I just have a little statement I'd just like to read. Last week, I had the pleasure of attending the Buzz Robotics Open House. Students gave a tour of the program at the Enfield Annex, and I enjoyed an amazing demonstration of the newest robot. It's absolutely amazing. If anyone has a chance to see the new robot, it's wonderful. This evening, Enfield's First Readers program will be honoring our youngest students who have achieved the skills as fluent readers. And in the next few weeks, our schools throughout Enfield will be hosting numerous award ceremonies that will be recognizing our students' achievements. Also, on June 4th, as we know, the Enfield Adult Education will have its graduation ceremony at Enfield High School. And then on June 11th, Enfield High School's senior class will be graduating and entering the world of adulthood. I would like to congratulate all of our students of all ages for their many accomplishments and wish them all the best of luck. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Allegro. Deputy Mayor, anything?
Thank you. Through the mayor to the town manager, I know you're going to talk about lawn mowing because we've discussed that already. The question to you is, some of the concerns have been with regard to the field day activities and outdoor things that the students are doing. I just would like to know whether or not we are coordinating with the schools around those so that the lawns are done to allow those activities to take place. Also, I got a complaint or a question about a light post that was knocked down by Corona's Market. I think it's on the corner. It's right before you get to their front door. And then there was also the question about the crosswalk that we talked about before. And I don't remember what happened with that. There was some reason that I think there was some reason that we weren't doing that. But I can't remember what that reason is. And I think it had to do with the ADA compliance of the sidewalk. If at some point during the week, if you could just remind me of what that issue was, I would appreciate it. I've also gotten several comments from neighbors on Summer Avenue, not just about the construction, but the road has been narrowed from what it was. And I believe the reason that it was narrowed in this reiteration is that the sidewalks were not ADA compliant and that they had to be widened, and so it needed to narrow the road. I just want to sort of put this on our radar because I think the neighbors are concerned about two-way traffic on that street. I will say it is very tight, having driven down it. If someone's coming the other way, you can't, if there's a parked car, we just might need to look at the traffic flow through there down the road. And I also, we had talked about Old Depot Hill Road. I had sent some videos and some pictures with some potholes that sound like Powder Hollow's issue. And we just, if you could at some point follow up on that, I'd appreciate it. And the last thing, I also want to extend my congratulations to all of the graduates of the adult ed program and of the Enfield High School class of 2026. Looking forward to the ceremony and hope that it doesn't rain this year like it rained last year or the year before. So hopefully it is a night like tonight. No, I think Councilor Hall and I were dodging dripping rain so that whole time. So anyways, so that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I just had one last thing. I kind of saved the best for last only because I'm a little biased, but the EHS girls softball are CCC champions. They beat and they took down the reigning champions, Southington, on Friday night in an amazing game. So congratulations to the Enfield High School softball team. And they do start, so that was conference play. They are the champions. States start technically tonight, but they were ranked third, so they get a bye and they start on Wednesday. So good luck to them and congratulations. All right, number 10, town manager report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I'll start with the bad thing first. I don't have the roads update because I promised you, and I apologize. I will have it for the next meeting, but I do not have it tonight. So I won't point to you anymore, but.
So, through the mayor to the town manager on this. So the next council meeting, we'll have a list of all the roads that we're addressing
Yeah,
this
I'll have
year.
a full report, yes.
And to add to that, can we maybe start preparing for next November for a roads referendum? Because we really, missing it this year, I think is a bad idea. That's just my opinion. But maybe if it's on our radar for next year, we can get a head start and looking at the roads that are needing to be addressed. So, yeah.
Yeah, we have not forgotten.
Thank you.
And you know, I think part of all that will be to try to figure out what can be done within the resources we have in the upcoming, not this year, but then the next year, because we're going to have a gap year there. So we're going to have to figure out how to flow resources to do some roads.
Right. And I think we have some money in the budget to plan for that. So
We have to do something, no doubt. So I apologize for that. Next week, we'll get that taken care of. As it relates to summer, so probably not a lot we're going to do now since the road is, so I don't know because it was designed before I got here. So I don't know the answers to what the thought process is, but as part of next meeting's discussion on the roads, we'll have an answer for the summer roads issues as well.
So I think the neighbor's concern is just sort of the traffic pattern through there. So, and obviously I didn't design the road, neither did you, and so it is what it is.
Thank God.
That's right.
You
That
don't
would
be
not be
designing
good.
those
No.
things.
Right. So I think that's really what their issue is.
Yeah. And I'll just say that has been one of the thought processes the town has been following related to our MS4 requirements as well, to shrink roads down, because the less road pavement, the less, we get hung up with the MS4 stuff, which is the stormwater requirements the state has. So practically every road that we're redoing is being shrunk in some way. But that one, I'm not aware of the sidewalks or anything like that. But like I said, we'll have those answers and be able to explain hopefully what the thought process is for the next meeting. They all do once they're redone. Just not, in Powder Hollow right now. The crosswalk in Coronas, just if I can address that real quick, is definitely an ADA issue, because wherever you place that, you have to have accessible curb cuts, and there's just, an exceptional amount of cost. So it's not just going out and painting an area. One of the thoughts was that we could put it over more towards the corner, and then the crosswalk would actually land, unfortunately, on the drive apron for an adjoining owner. And that's frowned upon for some reason, I don't know. And so it's very difficult to put that crosswalk in there without, putting it into a safe landing spot effectively. Now, on the positive side, we are right now doing design work for the streetscape for that area. And so that will be addressed as part of that overall streetscape, which kind of leads into that issue with the missing lamp and post. That again, that's going to be kind of folded into that. We've unfortunately, people tend to drive off the road down through there, and they're picking off every lamppost in Thompsonville. And if we don't do anything, probably in the next 5 years, they'll all be gone, which will save money, but that's another story. That's all going to be addressed as part of that. Another issue, which has been there for many, many years, which you may not know, is that they direct buried the electrical lines for all those lights. They didn't put it in conduit. And I know since 2008, 2009, I believe, when it first started, we've been having a lot of electrical issues with those lights going on, going off, not working, sometimes working. And, the solution is a very expensive solution that we're hoping to fold into the streetscape project to be able to start correcting that. Because it just, all the lines have to be in a conduit. And just unfortunately not what it is. And finding where those shorts are when they come up is near impossible unless you dig up every inch of the sidewalks to figure out where it's buried. So a lot of moving parts with that one. Playground equipment. The main order for the updates to the Rotary Rotary Park there by the library were placed on May 19th, I believe is the date. And so that's going to take a couple weeks to get those parts in, and then as soon as the parts come in, we'll be able to get them installed. Again, the hope is that happens here in June before too much playground time is lost. Parkman roof, that is, the plan is still the plan to do that moisture test that they wanted to do. We're just trying to find the money and the budget to be able to get it done. So I'm hoping as we get towards the end of the year, we'll be able to easily ascertain that money.
Through the mayor to the town manager. So that means that the original discussion that we had is if there was any money in the referendum we can pull from that. So it was determined that we couldn't do that, right?
We're looking into that.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yep. Grass. What can I say about grass? Well, I could say, I guess, that we experienced one of the wetter Mays in a long time in Connecticut. Could say that the temperature being warm and cold, helped with the wetness to make the grass grow. I could say that we are implementing new protocols with all of our roadside mowing, which took a little bit longer to get the training and the equipment and the signage and everything in. Could say that the sun wasn't out enough. But what I'm going to say is this. We fell behind, we got further behind, and then we got really behind. Not intentionally, because there's a lot of things going on. If you look out at the green didn't get to be in the shape it's in naturally. And so there was a lot of time there. If you look at the flags that are along Enfield Street, they didn't just show up there, they were put there. If you look at the banners that are out there, all these things take time and take time away from doing other things that could be done. Every baseball field that we did, every soccer field that we did, all take time. We fell behind. Over the last week, I think you'll have to agree that we've caught up. Is it where we want to be right now? No. Still catching up, but we're a lot further ahead this week than what we were last week. So that shows a little bit of work is being done to do that. As it relates to the events that are coming up, I know I gotten the emails as well from parents and teachers asking about those dates. We reiterated to Public Works that they need to check with the schools because, understand that, we know some things, but we don't know everything. And, over the last month on a lot of different things, I've found where it's not just our communications that are running short. There's other people that have to feed information to us so we know about it, running a little short as well. Again, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm just going to focus on the fact that we fell behind. Once we pressed to get the plan, they put a plan together. There was a lot of overtime. There's a lot of shuffling of personnel over the last week to get done what needed to get done. And for the most part, it got done. And thankfully, we're getting into the warmer months and grass will stop growing so we can get other things done, but that's what happened.
Anything else?
Yes, he has something.
All right.
On the brighter side.
Yes.
I like doing the fun stuff. So just to expound further on what Councilor Ungar was saying, June 9th is our first concert, 7 p.m., right outside there at the bandshell. A Touch of Jazz presents jazz, swing, and the American Songbook. This is part of the Enfield America 250 event. Retired school teacher and hometown favorite, Vin Casada, is going to be there. He has a female singer coming out, and he brings a good crowd. So I encourage you all to come out, take your shoes off, put your toes in the grass, and get something from the food truck and enjoy a concert. One of my favorite parts of this job is seeing happy people go home at the end of the night. So that's all I got.
And back to me. You're welcome for that brief interlude. Real quick, some questions that were also asked tonight that I thought I might as well address while I'm here. And you're here, we're having a meeting, why not? 2025 fiscal year financial statements, I'm almost going to guarantee you in the next 30 days they're going to be done. Almost guaranteeing you. No, it's... Well, I'll just say that, we are intending to sell debt come August, so they will be done, or we're not selling debt. And that would be like a really bad thing if we weren't able to do that. So, WPCA. So just for context with that, because I was here when $390,000 was put together. That was done based upon a study looking at all the different things that touched from the general fund, touched the WPCA. Mr. Young is right. My time, finance director, everybody that does something. Unfortunately, that's not a quick update, and it's just like the discussions that we need to have on, setting of the rates. These things can't happen like that, because when they happen like that, things are missed. And when things are missed, we run into issues like having a budget of $9.2 million, but only having revenue of about 8.1. So we're not going to do that. We will, over the next year, go through and do an update. It's not going to double that number. It's going to increase that number, but it's not going to double that number. But, there are a lot of issues that we'll probably talk about next meeting to the WPCA that need to be addressed. And from my standpoint, rather than just throw things at the wall, hoping that it works, that, we're going to take a break, take a step back, do the things that we need to do the right way, and then attack it next year and do the right things. So, there is a plan. There is hope, as always. And we'll get it right. But again, it's not just going to happen by snapping our fingers. So that's it.
So just through the mayor to the town manager, just on the WPCA piece, and I just, the other part of Mr. Young's concern, and I think we've talked about this as well, is, and to Councilor Zanoni's comment earlier, to my knowledge, I certainly have no experience in this area. I don't believe that others on the council are experienced in this area. And we seem to be like one of a very few number of communities, if not maybe the only community in the area that allows the town council to serve in that capacity. And it is a very complicated division to run. Do we have the bandwidth to try to look at how we can restructure this in a way that I very much agree that the taxing decisions should be kept here at the council, but I think we need a WPCA that really understands how a WPCA works, like other communities have. Is that sort of something that we are looking at doing?
You definitely can task us to look at that. I'll just say historically that hasn't been the position of the councils to do that. I think, excuse me, part of that stems from when the WPCA was created way back when, we were funding the sewer through ad valorem taxes. And, state statute gives, if you create a WPCA, the ability to do those things because it gets to figure out how it gets funded, right? I'm not sure unless something's changed. When we did look at this back 10, 15 years ago, whenever it was, it was an all or nothing type thing. It was either you gave them all that authority or you didn't give them any authority. And so we can look to see if anything's changed in the state law with that. But it may still be the same case where you either grant that authority to a standalone WPCA, or you just don't grant that at all, so they don't have it. But it's something we can look at.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we'll just bring it up in our next leadership meeting and see where we are on that. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. 11, Town Attorney Report. Did you have? Well, if you have a question for Don, you guys can deal with it later. Go ahead, Town Attorney Report.
Just one item for me tonight. When I was appointed town attorney, there was a vacancy in the town attorney's office for an assistant town attorney. We posted for that position, conducted interviews, and ultimately hired attorney Melissa Abramski. Her first day was today, so I just want to welcome Melissa to the town of Enfield.
Thank you. I look forward to meeting her. 12, report of special committees. Any? All right. 13, unfinished business. There is none. 14, new business. Consent agendas, items A, 1 through 7. This includes a couple of transfers, a grant, and a couple of reappointments. Any questions on the consent agenda? All right. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
Second.
All right. All in favor? 11 in favor, none against. Item 14B, the appointment of someone for the Ethics Commission, the term of office for Michael Briette, but I don't think that's how you say his last name, so I apologize to Michael, has expired. Do I have a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Kavan Harris.
Is there a second?
I second that.
All right. Any other nominations?
Move to close nominations.
Motion to close made. Is there a second?
And a second.
All right. All in favor of closing nominations? 11 in favor, none against. Any discussion? All right. All in favor of Mr. Harris? 11 in favor, none against. All right. Item number 14C, resolution to waive the TIF policy. Be it resolved that the town council hereby waives the requirements of the town of Enfield tax increment financing policy, page 4, general provisions, subsection terms for credit enhancement agreements to permit the Shops at Elm Street Square, LLC, to receive a credit enhancement agreement for the maximum of 20 years. Further, this waiver is due to the unique nature of the request for DOT required off-site public improvements for the project. Date prepared for 4/29/2026 by Economic and Community Development.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. I do know, for the most part, C and D go together. So, Christy, we can have you, I think you're here to come up for this?
Yeah, again, unless if John wants to.
Whoever? No, I know you have some questions and stuff, but,
Go and we'll decide.
you what? Okay.
You go ahead, we'll decide who to answers.
All right, so I know Mr. Troiano is here. He can come up, and if you would like to, sir, if people have questions for you. So, Matt, I don't know if you have anything to start this off on?
Yeah, just maybe to set, so again, I'm going to be speaking about both.
Yes,
At the same
because the
time,
C and D
just to
do
try
go
to make
together,
it-
so we can sort of discuss them together, but I'll read them separate.
So originally, this came up last year at some point. The applicant had requested the credit enhancement. At the time, council decided not to extend from 10 years to 20 years. They did ultimately approve the 10-year credit enhancement. The amount of money that they were looking for because of the cost of the ancillary road project that the state is requiring was $2.4 million, didn't cover it. It covered about 50% of what it was. The applicant, after that, under the new council, came back with a tax abatement request. And so what the thinking was that they would use the first 10 years on the credit enhancement, and the next 10 years, they would do a tax abatement. That was kind of what their request is. Before we had brought this to council, we kind of took a step back to actually look at, from a financial standpoint for the town, which was going to be the better path to go. And when we did the financial analysis, which is when you look in the next item, I think we had the financial piece attached. You see that actually doing the 20-year tax enhancement provides the town roughly about $700,000 more than if you did the credit enhancement and then the tax abatement. Not making a judgment on doing anything, saying if you are, as council, wanting to do this, from our perspective, the one that, does the project, which, improves the roadway, plus puts $700,000 more into the town's coffers is probably a better way to go than what the applicant is kind of, asking for with the tax abatement. We did talk to the applicant. He was not, didn't have any issue going that way since that was the original way that they had submitted it. I know that the TIF committee was going to have a meeting. Unfortunately, they didn't have the quorum necessary to actually do a revote on it, because go back in time, they did put it forward, recommending it to council for the 20 years the last time. Unfortunately, because we didn't have that quorum at the last meeting, they weren't able to re-up that or, have a discussion or make a different recommendation for that. I know it's something that if council wants, as soon as they have the next TIF meeting, they could have that done as well. So that's something to think about. If you wanted to wait until they met, you could do that as well.
Okay, so it is not necessarily on the building itself, this TIF enhancement, we'll call it, or the TIF money is going to be to do the roadway, which is a state road, and the state has indicated basically that they're not going to do it. So it's for improvements on the roadway. Yeah. I know I'm simplifying it, but that's kind of, it's not for the building, it's for the road.
Yeah, when they went to the State Road Authority,
yes,
actually, they said to do this, before we're going to sign off and give you the permits you need to be able to do it, you have to construct the road or reconstruct the road in a way that is going to, what it does is something really good, because if you drive on that road now heading to the west, if you get caught in the wrong lane during certain parts of the day, you can't get through that intersection for a long time because you have them turning left. This is actually going to create a dedicated left turn lane both directions. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's the widening of the roadway that's going to be going across the property owned by this particular applicant. Okay. So it will, there is an improvement, not just an improvement for the developer and entry into that, like you'll see. I mean, the state is required, I'm pretty sure most of those lights on Elm Street there were required when the mall went in, right? Mm-hmm. Which allows for the traffic to go in and out more effectively. So the state can require developers to do those type of things, which they're doing here. And the cost of that was, I think, somewhere around $2.4 million, maybe a little bit more. Today, it's probably $2.5 million, right. Just because of escalation in costs. This would, under what the proposed was, doing the 10-year credit enhancement and the 10-year tax abatement, I think, was going to generate about 2.4 and some change for the developer to go towards that. The credit enhancement actually is a little bit less. I think it's 2.3 and some change that they would actually receive over the 20 years of it. So they get slightly less than what they would get in the other way to go about it, which again, we get more this way than the other way than if you go about it. Again, that's for you to decide, because ultimately council makes the decision of what happens with this. So.
All right, thank you. All right, any discussion? I think, like I said, C and D are related. So go right ahead, Councilor Pisner.
So, as a member of the TIF committee, I agree. I mean, we did not have a quorum at our last meeting. So this resolution says that the TIF Advisory Committee has reviewed and recommended the waiver. That's not what happened. I don't feel comfortable voting on it tonight because there was 2 members of the committee there and 3 members of staff. I would like to see this tabled tonight so the TIF committee could continue in the and the entire committee could take a look at this. We did have some questions, but we couldn't get them answered because there was just two of us there. So I would like to make a motion to table this until the TIP committee can meet and discuss this and decide if we do think this is the avenue that we want it to take.
Okay. Okay. So if there's a first and a second to table it, does that end the discussion?
Yes, it ends the
Okay.
discussion.
So when I send out emails that say, if you have any questions, this is the kind of stuff that, listen, we absolutely could have had this after and dealt with it before going through this whole thing tonight. That is exactly what those emails, after you guys caucus, if you want to go ahead and try to table something, just let us know, right? Instead of doing this whole thing, a 10-minute presentation, and then you go, I want to table it. We could have avoided all of this. It's just ridiculous. All right, so there was a motion and a second to table, so I guess it stays on the table, right?
No, it still requires a vote, a
Oh, it does?
majority vote. Mhm.
Okay.
A discussion ends.
Discussion ends.
Correct.
All right. So all in favor of tabling it? 3 in favor, any against? All right, 8 against. All right. So now do I get to go back to discussion? Okay. Anything else, Marie? No. Before I go on? All right. Was there anything else? Go ahead, Councilor Zanoni.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a few comments. So, first and foremost, to Mayor Sakala's point, this is the first I'm hearing that there was any issues with communication. So, I feel uncomfortable about. Nobody gave me a phone call about it.
It was emailed.
Well, that wasn't given to
I
me.
was given a heads up that they were going to request this.
Given it heads up to you, it's just ridiculous. Well, I gave it to my leadership, she sent it to, well, the two of you guys gotta figure stuff out then.
I would have appreciated communication on that because I would have been happy to have that conversation. Though regardless, at the end of the day, committees can recommend things, but the decision comes before the town council.
Just so if I could, I just want to make sure so we don't get into trouble. You know, if they were to send something out like that, that would actually be a meeting, which is, and so we can't do that, right? Well,
She knows how to go through leadership, and leadership can discuss it.
Emails, create people
I didn't
that
say
want to
I wasn't
fly off.
proposing an email, but
for not a good reason.
People
so.
have called me in the past all the time, quite frankly, with concerns, and my Republican colleagues.
that
do
I
I
can't
didn't get any
address.
phone call, so I'm just saying, people could have given me a phone call. Okay, so credit enhancement tax. Here's the deal. So I tend to be in favor of incentivizing businesses to make improvements when I think those businesses are serving a public-facing purpose. I don't think warehouses do that. I don't think apartment complexes do that. I think things that people can go to and partake in are to a benefit of the town. And that area, it's a dump. And the developer needs to do something. And it's not going to get done otherwise. This is the reality. I understand the state of Connecticut doesn't do much. It's, you know what? I was a student for many years, and I have people, we have group projects, and they don't do stuff. It just doesn't mean we're not going to do it. People have to step up and take initiative. And so the only way this is going to get done, and we're going to put this property back on the grand list, is if we move forward with this. It's not a conversation about granting a credit enhancement or a tax abatement to the property itself. It's purely for the infrastructure that is imperative for this property to be developed. And so I think for me, that's what has led me to support it, because I had reservations about it. I'm always mindful of when we're potentially forgoing future taxpayer dollars. But this is a property that's going to go on the grand list that's currently underdeveloped, and we're only supporting specific revisions to the infrastructure, which the state of Connecticut will never do. So are we just going to leave it vacant? No, because no developer is going to go in and make that decision and fund it themselves. So we're just going to leave it vacant for years and years on the hope, well, the state of Connecticut should do it? No, we have to take initiative and see what we can do to get it done. because the taxes keep going up, and the only way that that's ever going to be fixed is if we start developing underdeveloped properties in the town of Enfield. So I am intending to support this resolution tonight, and as well as the succeeding one. I think it's to the benefit of the town of Enfield, and I think it's important to specify this as a credit enhancement. It's not a tax abatement. It's for specific infrastructure that's going to benefit the residents, because that intersection is not good. It's not effective. And this will add money to our grand list. It's going to do a benefit to the town of Enfield. And I would like to see our grand list go up so we don't have to keep raising taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So I just want to take a step back for a second, because I think I want people to be clear on what road we're talking about and what intersection. This is the intersection at Palumba Drive and Elm Street by the Town Fair Tire. So, and to the town manager's point, anybody who drives through there at in the afternoon, that is the one place on Elm Street where they did not widen the road and put the left turn lane and the passing lane, right? That is the intersection that we're talking about. And anybody who's driven through there knows that it's a dangerous intersection. The state is not going to fix that. And part of this agreement is that if the developer wants to develop the parcel across the street, they are responsible for fixing the state road. And so that is what came before us. And so that's what we're looking at. This is not any money that is going to the development. These funds are going to be used specifically to improve the road and nothing else. So I just want people to be clear about that. I do not necessarily disagree with Councilor Pisner's concern about us not having a quorum and that this was not at the most recent TIF committee meeting. However, this has been through multiple TIF committee meetings. It was originally brought here as the recommendation was to give this project the green light with TIF funds. This is not new to the council, and I honestly, I don't, I think we would just get back here at the same place with the same resolution. And I say that with all due respect. And I hear that we did not have, I was not at the meeting, and I think other people were not able to be at the last TIF meeting. I don't think the outcome, based on what we all know, and many of us who've been here for 4 years or longer have seen this. This is not a revelation to any of us. So I think, in fairness, it's not a brand new question. And I think had it been a new question, I think I would have been more inclined to give the committee a little bit more opportunity to input. But I think many of the members of the committee have seen this and have already discussed it. So I do think that it is great that the town manager and the finance director have reviewed the finances of this and have actually, and this ends up as the town ends up in a better position using TIF funds. So, I'm kind of inclined to support this, but I just wanted to kind of clarify those couple of points. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Go ahead, Councilor Mangini.
Thank you. Most definitely, I will be supporting the resolution and the project. We have enough information here in front of us, and courtesy of our town staff, that has provided us with even more, detail. There's no reason why we don't support this or move forward, because Deputy Mayor Santinella made it very clear this will come back at us again. It's going to just keep coming forward. I do remember this last council. So let's get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Hall?
So, a couple things. I think you need to apologize first to Marie. I think your behavior is outrageous sometimes, and I think you owe her an apology. I think we all can disagree with each other up here, and this is the forum that we bring things out when we have issues with things. And the town manager was informed. We had concerns. There was no quorum at the last meeting. So the fact that Marie brought that out at this meeting is her right to do so. So I think decorum is really important. So I think you certainly owe an apology to her, in my opinion. The other thing is with the TIF, and I appreciate that TIF money is used to enhance our business community and bring more revenue in for tax dollars for businesses. My personal opinion is I think there should be like a good neighbor clause in our TIF policy. I appreciate that we can give these funds out to businesses, but I think the businesses should also respect the town's policies when it comes to blight and how these businesses and partners in certain businesses conduct their properties. So I have a real issue with giving money, town money, whether it's in TIF or anything we do here with finances as town money. I think we should at least have some say in the properties that are receiving these funds, and they should be in good standing in our town, and that's my opinion. I'm going to be voting no on this tonight for several reasons, that being one of them. But also the fact that we have these committees and we expect the committees to do the work, but when we don't have a quorum and things aren't completed at the committee level, then they need to go back to the committee and have a committee vote. I'd be happy to eliminate some of the committee process if that's the way the council wants to go, but when you have a process in place, in my opinion, it should be followed. So that's where I am on this. I'll be a no tonight. I'd like to see it go back to TIF. And we are changing the length of time on these TIF agreements tonight for this one. Well, we're changing the whole TIF length of time that we can give these agreements out. But we're changing it tonight to accommodate this one particular applicant, and I have a real problem with that as well. So I'll be a no.
Thank you. Councilor Crissati?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'm going to be very supportive of both of the resolutions that are in front of us. This is a project that has been talked for a number of years. I know the applicant has been in constant contact with the TIF committee, and I believe back in May of 2025, the TIF committee approved the 20-year credit and enhancement for this particular project, and then it was scaled down to 10 years. Financially, for us, the 20 years is better, and I know the applicant is willing to accept the 20-year credit enhancement terms. I think it's suiting both him and it's supporting us. You know, he's spending quite a bit of his money and funds to help construct an area that needs work. And, you know, I could see, you know, if this project was just brought up last year, but this project has been talked about, I would say, probably for 6 to 8 years, maybe 8 years, when this first was proposed to us. So I'm going to be very supportive of the particular project. I think, you know, with the town manager going back and with the finance department and doing their due diligence and saying what's going to be better off for everybody here. And, you know, once again, state of Connecticut, the DOT is not going to be touching this road. And then we're supposed to be, this is also going to help with the overall aesthetics of the Enfield Square. When that gets kicked off, that will help also. So this is a a good situation. He's ready to start in on this. So I'm going to be very supportive of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional? Go ahead, Councilor Pisner.
Mayor to the town manager. One of the questions we did have in TIF that was not answered, and I don't see addressed on these, was if the property is transferred within the next 20 years, does this go to the new owners? Because it was one of the questions that the two members of TIF had, and I didn't get it. We didn't never resolve that.
So I had sent that out earlier to
Okay. well,
Councilor Hall.
Read
in
my
the
emails
agreement,
on my phone, so if I
Nope,
wasn't home, I didn't read it.
Not a problem. When you look into the agreement, you'll see that there is a that's not the right word. I can't think what the word is now. It can be moved on assignment. It can be assigned to a new owner. And so the way that these work, obviously, if they assign it, we can't, according to the language, reasonably withhold it. But there could be reasons why we would withhold it, and then basically the deal would be over. But we can't unreasonably do that. So this does follow the property. It doesn't follow the person today. They could transfer the property into someone else's name. In fact, when you read through it, there are those situations where it may have to be assigned because of second mortgages and what the bank wants to put their name on it. So they guarantee that the money they have, they can get repaid at some point. So all those are different types of assignments that are contemplated already in the agreement. So yes, it can be assigned with the town's approval. And the way that these work, I'm sure you're aware, the money doesn't come in all at once. It's going to be paid to the town over 20 years, goes into an account, and then once a year we disperse it to wherever it is supposed to go.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Sorry, just one last question. So when we ultimately sign this agreement, can we build in a start time, like make this time sensitive? Because the one concern that I had in all of this is putting a deal on the table for an important piece of infrastructure that we think is going to get fixed, and then for it not to happen 15 years from now, it's still in the same condition that it's in. And so are we able to put a condition on this that it's going to happen, the work will commence by a certain time?
I believe that goes into the agreement,
Okay.
the time frame for it.
I thought so.
I believe so. I was trying to pull it up for some reason. The way I'm looking at the agenda, it's not pulling that up. So
Okay, that was the only other thing. I'm done, thank you.
Any further discussion? Go ahead, Councilor Hall.
Through the mayor to either the town attorney or town manager. Are we going to get a copy of this agreement? And one, I'm assuming the town attorney is going to review it first, correct?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when it's done, it'll come to us for
Yeah.
a copy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
What's that? Anything else? All right, roll call, please.
Councilor Crisati.
For.
Councilor Hall.
Against.
Councilor Mangini.
For.
Councilor Matthews.
For.
Councilor Pisner.
Against.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
For?
Councilor Thomas.
For.
Councilor Ungary.
Against.
Councilor Zanoni.
For.
Councilor Allegro.
For.
And Mayor Sakala.
4.
8 in favor, 3 against.
Thank you. Item D, resolution to amend a credit enhancement agreement. Be it resolved that the Enfield Town Council hereby authorizes an amendment to the current credit enhancement agreement with the Shops at Enfield Street Square LLC starting 2028 to end after a period not to exceed 20 years, as authorized through a waiver of the tax increment financing policy general provisions, and after final review by the town attorney. Date prepared for 2026 by the Economic and Community Development.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. This is the same project. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Counselor Crisati.
For.
Counselor Hall.
Against.
Counselor Mangini.
For.
Counselor Matthews.
For.
Counselor Pisner.
Against.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
For.
Counselor Thomas.
For.
Counselor Ungary.
Against.
Counselor Zanoni.
For.
Counselor Allegro.
For.
And Mayor Sakala.
4.
8 in favor, 3 against.
Item E, resolution authorizing the submission of proposals for the state of Connecticut for the 2026 Neighborhood Assistance Act. Be it resolved that the Enfield Town Manager, their designee, is hereby authorized to submit the 2 proposals for the Hazardville Institute Conservancy Society, Inc. and Societia Maria SS Del Monte Carmelo Building Association, which is Mount Carmel, to the State of Connecticut Department of Revenue Services under the provisions of the Neighborhood Assistance Act, and to approve any donations received as a result of this submission. Date prepared 5/2026 by the Office of Economic and Community Development.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, motion made and seconded. We had this public hearing. There were 2 proposals that staff received. We had this public hearing at 6:50 this evening. Hazardville Institute Conservancy and the Lady of Mark Carmel Society. Any questions or discussion on this? All right, roll call, please.
Counselor Crisati.
For.
Counselor Hall.
For.
Counselor Mangini.
For.
Counselor Matthews.
For.
Counselor Pisner.
For.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
For.
Counselor Thomas.
For.
Counselor Ungary.
For.
Counselor Zanoni.
For.
Counselor Allegro.
For.
And Mayor Sakala.
4.
11 in favor, none against.
Item F, resolution to submit an application to the National Park Services Semi-Quincentennial Grant Program. Be it resolved that the Town Council of Enfield does hereby authorize Matthew W. Koppler or his designee to submit a grant application to the National Park Services Semi-Quincentennial Grant Program for the amount not to exceed $400,000 for the work on the Old Town Hall and to sign any associated paperwork that may be necessary for submission and acceptance of said grant. Dated 5/2026. Economic and Community Development.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Anything on this?
I believe this may have come up before, because I think this project was submitted possibly a few years ago.
I believe it was.
Because I know when it opened back up, Aaron had asked if we should apply for it again. The work that we're looking at doing on some exterior, some interior, mainly focused on ADA type things as well as preservation. So I think it's definitely, if we could get $400,000, someone else's money to do the repairs that are necessary there, would definitely be a good thing for us.
Right. All right, so no direct budget impact, but match from staff time. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councilor
I just wanted to
Ungary.
make a quick comment. In the last few months, I've taken 2 tours through the whole Old Town Hall, and it's beautiful what they're doing there, and they're cleaning up and getting ready for this year especially. So I'm going to support this, and I hope everything works out.
Thank you. Councilor Zanoni?
Just wanted to note there needs to be a clerical correction on the fourth dot's missing the Y in accessibility.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Roll call, please.
Counselor Crisati.
For.
Counselor Hall.
For.
Counselor Mangini.
For.
Counselor Matthews.
For.
Counselor Pisner.
For.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
For.
Counselor Thomas.
For.
Counselor Ungary.
For.
Counselor Zanoni.
For.
Counselor Allegro.
For.
And Mayor Sakala.
4.
11 in favor, none against.
Thank you. Item 14G on the agenda, resolution revising the property maintenance ordinance. Be it resolved that the Enfield Town Council approves the proposed amended property maintenance ordinance, Chapter 14, Article 4, Sections 14-171 through 14-210, date prepared 5/22/2026 by the Office of Economic and Community Development.
So moved.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded. Any discussion on this? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
So We had a public hearing on this ordinance. The Blight Committee has been working diligently on this. Thank you to the Town Attorney's Office. I know this was reviewed by you, and we appreciate the work. So to Councilor Hall, I went through this. I didn't see anything that, okay, all right, of course you, no, you know something, no, something, we have gone through this multiple times, right? And there's always something. So I had a sense that maybe there was going to be something, but for the most part, this is a significant revision. We have pulled out some of the language that was in the old ordinance and created a policy that makes it easier for future councils to change how blight is addressed in the community, and it provides a different form on which the members of the community can actually report blight. And I think we're all just looking forward to kind of just setting this in motion with whatever one thing. But that's all that I have at this point.
Thank you. Councilor Hall?
Yeah, and it's an item we did talk about in Blight. And if you remember, we talked about eliminating the driveway piece.
Oh, you're right.
And it's still in here.
Okay. So it's a friendly amendment, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So can you just, where?
It's page 87 on the revision page, and it's section 3. It's number 3.
Yep. Okay.
And it's A.
Yep.
So
Should we
right
make that amendment, or?
Yeah, I could make the amendment to remove the word driveway out of that section. So page 87, Sheila, section 3A.
And I'll second it.
Okay. And we did talk about that.
Hang on, just
go ahead.
let me just make sure. So the amendment was made and seconded, so now we can have discussion on the amendment. Go right ahead.
So basically, the committee did discuss, and we thought that was quite a big overreach to start monitoring people's cracked driveways. So that was discussed at the committee level and agreed to be removed. And it's just going to address parking lots that are in disrepair and need some major renovations. So that will not apply to people's driveways. So.
Thank you.
Right.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just would say I'm in favor of this. This was discussed. It was supposed to come out and apply only to parking lots. So I would encourage everyone to support this amendment.
Any further discussion on the amendment? On the amendment? Go ahead, Councilor Zanoni.
Thank you. So would 3D still address for the overgrowth of vegetation? So for the instance, if you have grass growing in your driveway that's over 12 inches, would that still address that?
It might come under the grass provision.
But because that's the only reservation I would have.
Yeah, because we have it for grass.
Okay.
So it might be covered under that.
It does say areas of grass, so if you have grass growing in your driveway.
Yeah.
I assume, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Okay. All in favor of the amendment? 11 in favor, none against. Okay, now, any further discussion on the resolution as amended? No? All right, roll call, please.
Councilor Crisati.
Or.
Councilor Hall.
Yes.
Councilor Mangini.
Or.
Councilor Matthews.
4.
Councilor Pisner.
4.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
4.
Councilor Thomas.
4.
Councilor Ungary.
4.
Councilor Zanoni.
4.
Councilor Allegro.
4.
And Mayor Sakala.
4.
11 in favor, none against.
All right, item 14H, resolution setting a public hearing for proposed revisions to the Enfield Charter. Be it resolved that the Enfield Town Council does hereby schedule a public hearing regarding the proposed revisions to the Enfield Town Charter to be held on June 15th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. in the Town Hall Council Chambers, 820 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut, in order to receive public comment. Date prepared 5/22/2026 by Sheila M. Bailey, Town Clerk.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. This is just to set the public hearing. You will see later on in the agenda, we really just have to indicate that we have received the draft report. We're not going to discuss it later. I think we basically just have to say we received it. But any questions on setting the public hearing? All right, roll call, please.
Counselor Crisati.
4.
Counselor Hall.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
4.
Counselor Matthews.
4.
Counselor Pisner.
4.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
4.
Counselor Thomas.
4.
Counselor Ungary.
4.
Counselor Zanoni.
4.
Counselor Allegro.
4.
And Mayor Sakala.
4.
11 in favor, none against.
All right, 14I, resolution adopting the policy and procedure for Enfield Town Council meetings. Be it resolved that the Enfield Town Council does hereby adopt policy and procedure for Enfield Town Council meetings dated June 1st, 2026, date prepared 5/27/2026 by the Town Manager's Office.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
made and seconded. So I will push this over to the members of the Policy and Procedure Committee, just for people's reference. Every new term, the Policy and Procedures document gets looked at by a new group of counselors, and any revisions, if any, are proposed and sent to the council as whole. So this year, this term, it was Counselor Crisati, Counselor Matthews, and Counselor Pisner. So I don't know if any of you have sort of an overview of any of the major changes at all, but feel free.
Thank you, Mayor. So going through policy and procedure, we've been at this for a couple of months now with town staff. The crux of what has changed in this document were some typos. There were also some policies and procedures in here that we actually don't do, so we ended up removing those. We took a look to see how we could maybe be more efficient in the way that we're running these meetings, and looked at some examples from some other towns in Connecticut, some things that they did, and trying to incorporate some of the good ideas into, not just Connecticut. Our town manager here has been the town manager for many different states. So we kind of took all of these ideas and put them all together and came up with this document. We didn't want to change too much, but we want to start trending in a more efficient manner. So one of the big changes that everyone will see is the changes to public communications. Instead of, and I know that I was asked by our mayor to refer to this in numbers. Yes. So for item 7, we now have 2 sections to item 7 where people can come up and speak for 5 minutes, and then the second round is 3. 5 for both? 5 for both. No, what we're doing now.
Oh, 5 and 3.
Yes, 5 and 3 now. So what we are proposing to change here in item 7, and I believe someone is going to make a friendly amendment to make this 7A and 7B, for that first section of item 7 to be public comments on agenda items only. And then once the second, or 7B, comes around, where people can comment for the second time, that will be on anything the person wishes for another 5 minutes. So if you have something specifically that you want to talk about, and it's on the agenda, you will be able to speak first. If you do not have an agenda item to speak on, but you want to come up and ask questions, you have a complaint, something that you think that the council or the town manager needs to know, you're going to wait until that second section, and you're going to speak for another 5 minutes. Now, we had talked about eliminating 16 public communications at the end. But since we all realized that people might not be finished with what they wanted to speak on in item 7, we kept that for the 3 minutes. So now we have public communication in number 7 for 5 minutes for 2 rounds, One is just agenda items, the second is whatever you wish, and then the last one for number 16 is 3 minutes on whatever you wish. Hopefully, I explained that in a clear fashion.
Thank you. Any other comments from the committee members? And then I think
Yeah.
there's just going to be a quick friendly amendment, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, we will be making a friendly amendment to item 7, public communications and petitions. But just a couple other things that I just want to mention in regard to this. So we did eliminate a little here, and we did add under appointments by the council or mayor. And once again, all appointments made by the council shall require an affirmative vote of not less than 6 members of the council as specified by the town charter, except for appointments expressly governed by the charter. Any appointment submitted by the mayor or the council member shall be referred to the next regular meeting for consideration, and no action shall be taken at the meeting in which the appointment is first presented. Okay, so I did want to mention that. And then the other thing in regard to ordinance. Once an ordinance has had a public hearing, it shall be considered by the council at its next meeting. The ordinance shall be read and open for debate and amendment until a motion for final passage is made. A motion for final passage is not debatable and takes precedence over all other motions except adjournment. If a motion is approved, debate ends, and the council immediately proceeds to a roll call vote on a final passage. If not, the ordinance remains open for discussion until such time as a motion for final passage is adopted. And we did eliminate a whole section there, as you can see, it's redlined under 24 passage A. So I did want to mention to that. At this point, I do want to make that friendly amendment, unless you want to wait, unless somebody else has a comment.
Whatever. I was going to go to Marie, so if you
Oh,
want to
okay.
make, so, do you want to let, and then I'll go
Yeah,
back?
go ahead, then you can come.
Go ahead,
So
Councilor
I'm just going to make a quick comment. I'm fine with this. I mean, we're adding 5 minutes onto public communications. Personally, I didn't think we needed to change anything in public communications. I thought it was fine just the way it was. I think this just adds 5 minutes, but as long as people have the right to come up here and say anything they want and tell us what they think they want us to know, I'm good with it. I was not going to say yes to this if it was only on agenda items, because I didn't think that was right. And so we did work that out. And we are also having communications at the end, because that was another thing that I said I felt was important. So I'm good with this. I think we're just adding an extra 5 minutes, but that's it.
Thank you. Hang
Okay,
on.
great.
I'm going to go back to
right, go
Maya,
ahead.
and then we're going to do the amendment, and then we'll open it for discussion, if that's okay. Go ahead.
Just one more quick note that I think people would be interested in, which Councilor Zanoni reminded me of, under number 20, time. We also amended that and actually made it a little bit more clear about actions that were going to be taken. No ordinance or resolution other than an emergency ordinance or an unusually time-sensitive ordinance or resolution as determined by the town manager requiring action by the town council shall be considered unless such has been filed with the town manager on or before 5 p.m. of the 7th day before the meeting at which the matter is to be introduced. And you can read the rest of that. But we had a little bit of a snafu kind of in the beginning of our term. We were trying to make sure that nothing like that happened again, and that we can all try our best to be as transparent and forthcoming and prepared for these meetings as possible. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do the amendment now, then we'll discuss the amendment only, vote on the amendment, and then open it up for discussion on the document as amended if it gets passed.
Okay.
So I don't know who's
All
doing
right,
it.
I would like to make a friendly amendment to number 7. We will have, instead of it just saying 7 public communications and petitions, 7A will be agenda items, and 7B, round 2, will be non-agenda items.
So I think it'll,
Second.
Okay.
so I think it should, if I can, so we're under number 2. I think 2, order of business
Yeah,
and
so-
regular minutes.
Yeah.
Item number 7, public communications and petitions. I think we should just add A, agenda items, and B, any items.
Yep.
Because they may still be talking about agenda
Yeah,
items. if that-
yeah. Any items.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So A would be agenda items,
And
B would be any
any.
items.
Yep. Any items.
So that is the amendment. Is there a second on that amendment? Counselor Mangini. Any discussion on that amendment? All right, all in favor of that amendment? 11 in favor, none against. Okay, now we can go back to discussion on the document as amended. Counselor Ungary, I saw your hand.
Yes, thank you. Just a quick note on number 23B. I just want the residents to know, and this has happened many, many times, where a speaker will come up and they will give their time to someone else. And in here, it says that speakers may not yield their time to others. So I've seen 3 people raise their hand, and instead of coming up themselves, they all gave their time to someone else. And so I think the public needs to know that that's going to change. They can't do that anymore.
Thank you. Counselor Zanoni, your hand was up?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to give relatively succinct comments. So I'm happily supporting this evening, and I think while we've never changed it, I think it's been decades since we've added speaking time, and I think that's something in the interest of transparency that we should be proud of as a council. I didn't have time to go to town hall and harass Sheila's staff to go in the vault and look through the minutes, but as long as I've been around, it's always been the same amount of time, so I think there's something to be prideful in that we're expanding the opportunity for people to talk about items. To Mr. Young, because you had talked about reservations about this, this is a business meeting, and so I think turning the focus towards business items is important. It's why I come wearing a suit. It's why when I talk about things during counselor communications, it's relevant to my role as a counselor. And so that's important. And it's the same procedures up at the Capitol. You can't go to public hearings and just talk about whatever you want. And we're still allowing people to do that, but I think we are tightening the belt a little so that we can ensure that the work that we're doing here is as effective as possible and focused on the goals that we're supposed to achieve. So I think that's to a benefit, and we're adding time for people to speak, so people that want to speak on items that pertain to the council are going to get more time, and I think that will allow us to make better and more informed decisions. So I look forward to supporting the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Crissati?
Yep, just one final comment, and this is still under 23, under the public hearing. One thing that I just want to mention to everybody, the council will not act on any item requiring a public hearing at the same meeting as a public hearing except for an emergency ordinance or an unusually time-sensitive ordinance or resolution as determined by the town manager. I just want to make that a point. I know we stated it, but I just want to reemphasize that, determined by the town manager. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, so I have a question. Maybe this is through the mayor to the town attorney or town manager or to the committee. So we've had to add things onto the agenda in these meetings, right? And normally by Robert's rules, it requires 8 people to do that. How does number 20 measure up to Robert's rules and requiring 8 votes to be able to add something to the agenda? Because those could contradict. Maybe the town clerk has a comment. I don't know who would answer the question. But the way we operate under Robert's rules, which from what I understand.
That is correct, but our
Policy
rules
and
of procedure
procedures
supersede Robert's rules.
Supersede Robert's rules. That was my question. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, roll call, please.
Counselor Crissati.
4.
Counselor Hall.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
4.
Counselor Matthews.
4.
Counselor Pisner.
4.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
4.
Counselor Thomas.
4.
Counselor Ungary.
4.
Counselor Zanoni.
4.
Counselor Legro.
4.
Mayor Sakala.
4.
11 in favor, none against.
All right, thank you. Item 15, items for discussion. The Charter Revisions Commission draft report was filed in the office of the town clerk on May 22nd, 2026 for the town council review. So just everybody knows, earlier on the agenda, we set the public hearing for that's June 15th. So now we have time to go through the town charter suggested changes between now and then, and I believe we are asking the Charter Revision Commission to come up and do sort of a little presentation before the public hearing on the 15th. All right? So we're not voting on anything tonight. I think we just need to have a consensus that we have it and we've received it and we're moving forward. Go ahead.
I wanted to point out that third bullet that you didn't read.
Oh, you want me to read all of them?
Oh, no.
Because it wasn't a
I
resolution.
want to focus on
Okay.
that for a second because I
Yes.
think that's very important because at
That's fine.
leadership, I didn't have all the information.
Okay.
And so we didn't talk about this. So after the public hearing, you have 15 days to act on it. So what we had originally thought was you could do it after, sometime the first week of July.
Yeah.
But the reality is
Gonna have to be the
that
end
if
of
you
June.
don't act on it on the 15th, you would have to have something between the 15th and the 30th.
Rich,
because the
we
30th is
can't
the last
act
day.
on it on the 15th now anyway, according to our policy and procedures.
Well, you could, if it's time sensitive.
Unless it's time sensitive.
As determined by the town manager.
Right, but that's, okay, so that'll be, we either need to
As
set
determined by.
Right, but we either need to set a special meeting at the end of June before
Yeah,
the 30th.
Before the 30th.
Or deal with it on the 15th.
Yep.
So maybe within the next couple of days, everyone, since we have the charter suggested changes, we'll go through it. I would rather, we'll figure it out. If
Okay.
we can get a quorum, we'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, you have a little bit of time,
Yeah.
obviously.
Okay.
Once you come to the council meeting on the 15th, well, before that, we'd have
Right.
to know to
I
get it
thought
on
we
the
were
agenda.
looking at the
so-
first full meeting in July, so, okay. All right.
Yep.
All right, so that was that item, and I believe the next item, when I can get back to my agenda, is any other business proper to come before said meeting. There is none. Public communications? Go ahead, come on up. Mr. Young, 3 minutes.
George Young, 8 Holly Lane. In response to this 7A, 7B, I presume you're going to have some kind of a procedure where we have to sign up on 2 separate sign-up sheets, and do we have to sign up on both of them? And can we continue into B after we finish A, or do we have to come back later? So I'll just leave you to figure out that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public communications? All right, 18, counselor communications. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Made and seconded, all in favor? 11 in favor, none against. We are adjourned.